So Hamza, can you explain what kind of business you have for the audience?
Right. So I've been a Quran teacher for a very long time. And when I had a lot of people contacting me because they want me to teach them, I realized I can no longer teach one-on-one. So I needed something to manage the flow and also wanted to make sure that I'm able to serve everyone. And so I reached out to Brad, reached out to Jameel. And so I went through this phase of transformation, moving from teaching to coaching. So now I coach people instead of teaching them. Uh, and my offer is very simple. I take someone from knowing nothing to become fluent Quran reciter so they can connect to Quran, ultimately connect to the Creator by reciting it fluently in 149 days.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I love it. Well, guys, so what I want to do today with Hamza, I've been working with him for a little bit now, but I wanted to take a very deep dive, rebuild his entire sales system in roughly just about an hour here. So we'll start out, obviously, within sales, you have a couple of different processes, but it all starts out at the appointment set. So Hamza, walk me through right now the struggles when you're actually going for the appointment set.
Right. I've got about 500,000 followers across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. So a lot of people are reaching out to me. Can you teach me? So one challenge I have that most of these people are carrying an old mindset of, can you give me an hour of your time and teach me every day, 5 to 7 days a week? And so what I'm finding challenging is to qualify them to see which one of them are willing to change from I need a teacher to I need a coach. This is the old way of learning. I need the new way of learning. I want to be taught in a new visual method rather than old traditional method. So that's what I'm finding it. So imagine 500,000 people, and every time I put a post or video, I've got tons, tens of sometimes hundreds of people messaging it. Can you teach me? I'm trying to move them through a pipeline so I have qualified leads.
Understood. So for basically the status quo right now is people, they assume because you're a Quran teacher, they can pay you by the hour, maybe like, $100 an hour, rather than treating this as a high ticket product.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So that right there is a value gap. So what's happening there is like, there is a product in the market that fixes the solution. The number one issue is that the anchor in their head is far below. So like before, this is more on the actual sales side. This is not for the appointment setting side, but everybody has an anchor in their head of what something should cost. There's no such thing as a real value on anything. Gold is a fake value. Houses are a fake value. Every single thing is a completely fake value. The only thing that makes it valuable is the fact that somebody has anchored that price at higher or lower for what you are asking. So when you come in and you ask, your product costs roughly $5,000 for the year.
Yeah. So low ticket, £127 a month. Higher ticket is $9.99 a month.
Low ticket was 157 or 100 a month.
127 a month.
127. High ticket was
$9.99 a month.
$9.99. Cool. Okay, so we'll loop back around to this, but okay, let's start off at the appointment setting. So on the actual appointment setting, Hamza, when you go in and you start talking to people, they're assuming like, are they asking you how much is your hour? Is that like a question you're getting, or what's happening when you try to set an appointment right now?
Yeah. So because like you mentioned value, there's also this misconcept or there is this old way of thinking that if you teach me the way I've been learning all this time and it's not working, if you just teach me again and again the same way, I might get somewhere. So there is that value gap. There's also how much time it requires to achieve something. So in their head, I need an hour, an hour, 2 hours every day. I need a teacher to teach me constantly so I can get the result. Also, they thinking traditional method, which didn't work for them, it's going to continue to work for them. So when they're coming to me, with that mindset, with that in their mind, so some of the questions they would treat me with, how much do you charge? How many days a week would you teach? Is it, they don't really ask about what way would you teach. They want to know who's going to teach. Sometimes they don't. They're not even interested if I'm teaching them. They just need someone to constantly teach them.
Okay. That definitely makes sense. Okay, interesting. So, okay, before we jump into that, so okay, on the actual appointment setting side, let's say you want to just set up a meeting. What's the very first question that you're asking them?
Okay, so having learned from you, when they are asking about the price, I would ask them what goal they want to achieve. And so from there, I would see if how serious they are. So I would ask them what goal they want to achieve, and try to see what they have been doing in the past. So this couple of questions: what are you trying to achieve? Um, um, how did you find out about me? Are you currently learning? And then if they answer those questions and it looks like they are someone who are willing to spend money on a lower ticket or higher ticket, then I will send them the link. Okay, here is my calendar. Go and book an appointment.
Got it. Okay, so we're going to solve things really fast with a couple of different things. So I'm assuming the reason you're sending them the link right now is because you don't have time to handle all the DMs, right? Okay,
Yeah.
So we can fix that problem very, very easily just by hiring an appointment setter. So we're going to hire an appointment setter. And we're going to have the appointment setter follow this very, very simple framework. So number one, we're going to have the appointment setter start asking questions, piquing curiosity. Now, how do you pique curiosity in a product like yours? You do that by asking questions that put a result in somebody's mind. So for example, the question, do you believe that you have to put in lots of hours to truly learn and memorize the Quran? That's a curiosity building question. As soon as you ask a question like that, what ends up happening is in their head, they start challenging the perspective they have. They'll say yes, no, but they'll start challenging that perspective. So number one, we want to build curiosity. After we've correctly built curiosity, this might happen in one or two questions. All we want to do from there is really start disqualifying. So unfortunately for you and for every single person that's also big on Instagram, you guys have audiences that are majority based in countries with zero money. People from India, people from Pakistan, people from third world countries that just cannot afford your products. We want to cut those people out immediately. So curiosity, start disqualifying. Right after we've disqualified, now we have to actually get the people to show up to the call. Because I've agreed to show up to calls and have not shown up. You've agreed to show up to calls and you've not shown up. Why? Because you had peak curiosity, but the call was pushed out for a day from now. Something better comes up in the meantime. I mean, it could be as simple as, bro, this new spot opened up down the street. Let's go eat. Like, it doesn't take a lot for you to avoid that call. So what do we do after that? We give them an amazing reason to show up to the call. Give reason to show up. So that reason to show up, there has to be something that's really in it for them. So when you're building those curiosity questions, this is where these two start looping back around. So it's going to sound like, do you believe that you have to spend hours and hours to actually learn the Quran? Okay, great. The curiosity is built. Okay, Austin, and we have a couple different programs. What time zone are you in? That's the easiest way to disqualify. If somebody's in IST, if they're in Indian Standard Time, they're probably not going to be a qualified lead. We immediately cancel that call, cancel that conversation. Now, if they say they're in Eastern Standard Time, if they say that they're in UK time zone, we're all good to go. Now we're going to give them a reason to actually show up to the call. So once we give them a reason to show up, it's going to sound like, would it be okay with you if we hop on a quick call, just so I give you all the details on how you can learn the Quran for just 10 minutes a day and actually have it memorized for the rest of your life? That is an amazing reason to show up to a call. I'm going to show up to that call. You want to, again, you're piquing curiosity, but you're also making the call as valuable as possible for them. And then lastly, because here's the big kicker, even though there's a good reason to show up to the call, people are not dumb. And they understand the fact that if they're hopping on a call with you, you're doing it for a reason. You're not going to just hop on a call with everybody, because that's what you put out content for, so you can help everybody. If you're hopping on a call, they know I'm going to be sold to. So that's another reason that your no-show rate will suck. So what we're going to do after that is we're going to sell the exit. So selling the exit on the appointment script sounds like, Hamza, what I want to do on the call with you today is I want to show you exactly how you can understand, memorize, and learn the Quran for just 10 minutes a day, so that in the next 6 months, me and you can rock and roll together. So we're making sure they know that they will not be actually sold on that call. So that is the initial appointment setting script. Now, if you can't do this, if the volume is too high, which it may or may not be for you right now, but if it is too high, we get an appointment setter to do this. But regardless, if this is happening on a WhatsApp chat, an Instagram chat, anything like that, this is a solid framework you can use to actually start getting these deals. Any questions? Yeah.
Excellent. Would I ask these questions over text message if I already see them as qualified? I'm asking this because on my WhatsApp, yes, I know where are they messaging from. So they're messaging from UK, Canada, USA, Australia. Would I ask these questions?
Oh, yeah. So WhatsApp is great, right? Because you don't have to really disqualify as much. I would still, if you have a high volume, you still want to add another disqualifying question. So like another easy one for you is, what do you do for work? I'm asking because some people have more or less time to actually dedicate towards this. So you can ask another a hidden disqualification question. And by the way, doing everything on WhatsApp is great. However, realistically, there's probably an extra $100,000 waiting in your Instagram DMs. And we can talk about different ways to appointment set here, but from what I understand right now, everything is inbound for you. So people are literally reaching out, they're texting you first.
Okay, help me understand this, because just like I'm trying to transform people from this mindset to that mindset, I also need to be transferred from old mindset to new mindset. So my old mindset is telling me, just ask them, do they have money? Just ask them if they can spend, if they're willing to spend 120, which I did in the past. I would ask them this money question. Are you willing to spend X amount of money on this? Or are you willing to spend that amount of money on something? And surprisingly, some people would say they're willing to spend $9.99 a month on learning. And I would tell myself, oh, wow, I think I found someone and I think it's a deal. Until I jump on a call and I realized they misunderstood the number.
That will 100% happen. Okay, so here's the thing. So that strategy is okay to be very straightforward. But number one, you have to build value first. So before you drop a price, you always have to build value. Otherwise, what happens? Let's loop back to the beginning of our conversation. If you don't build value first, they have anchored your product at something that costs $100 an hour or less. And now you told them $9.99 and they're like, okay, cool, I'm going to go to Fiverr. Or I'm going to go to Duolingo or something else that is much cheaper. So that's why we don't do that. But with that said, if you have 10,000 leads coming in a day and you've built up a very strong marketing engine, it's okay to be ruthless with your disqualification. But only when that has been achieved. I don't think that has been achieved necessarily yet. The reason I say that is because I still feel like it's that the point there is once 2 or 3 appointment setters cannot handle volume, then we start asking stuff like that. So before, I would like to hide it a little bit. Now, especially because, and by the way, the reason I'm saying that is because you can always build value even if somebody does not have money, and they will go out and find the money. So, okay, this is for an inbound appointment set. Now, we don't have too much time today, but like, just so you know, from what I understand, the Instagram DMs in terms of outbound is non-existent. So you're never reaching out to anybody.
Yeah. There are a couple of reasons for that. I'm just gonna shoot one is that it's seen as, oh, how come you're a teacher and you're going out looking for students? So is this thing that people have in their mind. I think he's needy. That's why he's reaching out to me. So I never did anyway.
Got it. Okay, so let's just talk about a giant opportunity here.
Okay, a quick question, Jamil. Just in this
Yes.
building value.
Yes.
Can you build a value by sending them a VFL? And if the answer is yes, then how should it be done so they still show up to the call?
Yeah, definitely. You can 100% build value by sending the VSL. The tricky part is you have to make sure that you've figured out some of their qualifiers, like why they actually have the problems they have before you send out the VSL. So like if you just send out a VSL randomly, you will get some hits for sure, but you want to ask them a couple questions, make sure that their problems align with the VSL before you send it. Like your VSL, I'm sure is great, but it's not going to cover every single person's problem. And if you send out, it's just like your presentation, right? Think about your presentation. We've talked about this before. If I present to you to what I think the overall issue is rather than Hamza's issue, then what ends up happening is you're like, okay, he didn't really solve my problem. So that's why I like to avoid that, but it is useful.
Got you.
Okay.
Got you.
So biggest thing for you, bro, if you're not doing any outbound yet, is going to be to start doing outbound. So all of the people in your Instagram, when they like, when they comment, when they do all this stuff, it's very, very important. It's going to be a massive opportunity for you to hire an appointment setter and have them start having conversations with people, nurturing them, going through that similar framework, building curiosity, disqualifying, building value, and then actually giving them a reason to show up to the call, sell them the exit. They build that same framework outbound. So we start a lot more conversations. So that's gonna be a massive opportunity for you. Like in my head, I mean, in general, for like the following you have in the niche you're in, there's no reason that you can't add an additional $50,000 to $100,000 a year just by adding outbound into your process. So definitely something big to like look at and think about. Now, let's move on real quick.
A quick question. Would you recommend me doing outbound if I'm overwhelmed with people messaging me?
On Instagram?
Yeah, and on WhatsApp as well.
Okay, so if you're overwhelmed with that, that means it's time to hire an appointment setter. Because we're overwhelmed, but we're still not overwhelmed in terms of income. So like until you're making like $50,000 a month, there is no overwhelm with leads. That's a very good problem to have. We just need to add a team member in to start helping.
Got you.
Yeah. So we could definitely help on that. So, okay. Now let's run through the actual sales call itself. So we have Q, P, C. Now
if I'm let me just mention this, it might benefit some of the viewers who will be watching this later. So I come from a background where you shouldn't charge too much, try to help as many people as you can. So I was at the peak of that where I'm trying to help so many people, and you can imagine, well, unless you are at that level, if you have 500 million people all across social media, they're messaging you so you can help them, and you're struggling to pay X, Y, and Z, and you can't even have an office, you don't have a room, you don't have the equipment, then you're really struggling. You can't actually help them. So the reason I can jump on a call like this and learn these things is because Um, I trusted, believed someone. And I said, well, you know what? I'll give it a go. So I joined Brad program, started showing up to sales call. And what that did for me, it shifted my mindset. So rather than teaching, and I was literally teaching 3 to 4 hours in the morning, 3 to 4 hours in the afternoon, and then back-to-back lessons, in the evening. So altogether, 8 to 10 hours. Now, I'm a passionate teacher, so if I'm putting all my passion and energy into teaching, I literally have no time left. I would literally be, you know, teaching, and I just pick my phone and record a video while I'm teaching and just upload it. And I would think that this is the best way to help people. Until I realized, you know what? If I up my own game and I can collect more revenue, then I can actually go out and help more people. So now I'm able to, pay for services like email marketing. I'm able to pay for ads. I'm able to pay for so many things that are reaching out to so many people and actually helping them without exhausting me. So yeah, big thanks to, all the teaching and services you guys provide. It's amazing.
Of course, man. Of course. Like it all is mindset. Like it all is mindset because it's very difficult, especially within a niche like yours, to sometimes people can't get over charging money for their service. But like you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the more money that you make, the more money that your business makes, the more people you can impact and help. And whether that's like a business like yours or just a business like mine, where I'm like helping people with sales, like it feels weird to charge people to have them make more money. But at the end of the day, when I charge more, people learn better, they commit more. And then there's more people that I can impact. Again, I can run ads, I can make more content, stuff like that. So hit the nail on the head, bro. But let's run through the basic sales framework. So you have your qualifying section, you have your presentation, you have your close. So I just want to give you the framework for what I've seen personally lead to a 30 to a 50% closing ratio. So this is very, very, very simple. We'll start off with the qualifying process. Actually, you know what? Let's take it from the top. I'm going to give you guys too much free value today. Let's start from the intro. So your introduction, it has to have two very important things, and it has to lack one thing very hard. Number one, what your introduction has to lack is rapport. This is the biggest myth in the sales industry. Everybody thinks that when they hop on the call, they have to say, how are you? What's going on? How's the weather? Oh, you have a dog? I have a dog. And they have to build a connection like that. This is a bunch of BS. Rapport in the beginning of the call is fake. Just like small talk is fake, this is the exact same thing. You're not genuinely building a connection with somebody. You're just wasting their time, and you're wasting your own time. The way that you build real rapport is when I'm giving you value, you're giving me value. So the best way to do that is to hop right into the call. So no rapport. What we do is we give them a quick introduction. Hamza, how's it going? What's new? That's my very favorite way to start. Then we roll right into the game plan. The game plan sounds like, Hamza, what I want to do today, specifically for your business, would be, Hamza, what I want to do today, I want to better understand what you've done in the past to try to learn the Quran, what the struggles have been. If I personally feel like I can help you, I can give you the game plan from A to Z on how I can help you actually memorize and learn the Quran. That way, within the next 6 months, me and you can rock and roll together. You have us in the back of your pocket. So I gave you the game plan. I told you I'm going to understand where you're at. I want to ask you some questions. I want to share with you exactly how I can get you from A to Z to give you the goal. If I feel like I can help you, I will share what I have. And then I sold the exit. So the reason that the game plan is important and the exit is important is because people need to know what's going to happen. And if I tell you, if I don't set up the game plan correctly, what's going to happen? I'm going to ask you one question and they'll be like, okay, but Hamza, what do you have to offer? How much does it cost? And all that value that I could have built just dropped to the floor. And now that anchor that we talked about at the beginning of the call, that's going to come back and bite us in the butt. So that's why it's so important to sell the exit and so important to give the game plan. Okay, so now we've done both of those. Now we're right into the qualifying section. So
Sorry, just a quick one, just to understand, sell the exit correctly. Sell the exit is, I am this, and today I'm going to do this, and I want to find out if this is suitable for you. If this is for you, then I'm going to show you how we can rock and roll together for the next 6 months. Is that the exit?
So the exit is going to be, I'm going to show you exactly how I can get, I mean, the game plan is, so what I want to do, I want to better understand yourself, the struggles of learning the Quran. If I feel like I can help you, then I'll share with you the game plan on how I can teach you the entire Quran and get you to memorize it. That's game plan. Exit is the next step, which is so that within the next 6 months, me and you can work together. So like the messaging that you're putting across there is, I'm not going to charge you on the call. You don't have to buy today. You can buy today, but you don't have to. I'm just having this call so that you can buy within the next 6 months.
Let's say I don't say that. What will that do?
Yeah. So if you don't say that, what ends up happening is they don't open up to you. So they're not going to give you their real problems and struggles. And if they don't give you the real problems and struggles, then you can't solve their problems correctly, and then you won't be able to close. So let's think about this a little bit differently. Now, what do other salespeople say? Other salespeople do not sell the exit, and we have to do the opposite of what other salespeople do. So what other salespeople do is they pop on the call and they say something closer to the lines of, I'm going to give you some information today. That way you can make a decision with us on the call today. Does that sound good? What's the problem with that? I feel very attacked.
Yeah, too much pressure.
Too much pressure. We want to take out as much resistance as possible. I don't want external urgency on the call. I want internal urgency. Because here's the thing. Okay, Hamza, I can run over you. I can come up with a billion analogies and I can make it seem like you have to buy today. And you'll buy. But tomorrow you'll charge back or you'll ask me for a refund. So what was the point of that? I just put in so much effort for nothing. I don't want that. I want you to be happy with your decision. So that is why we do it that way. Now, right after that, we move on to the qualifying section. And the qualifying section for your actual call is going to be structured like this. Current pain. So we're going to be asking questions regarding what is painful, what hurts about the way that you're going about learning the Quran right now. And we're going to go very deep into that. What are the results of that pain? Do you feel embarrassed that you can't tell your kids that you've memorized more than 3 surahs? Are you ashamed that like your wife knows more than you, that your uncle knows more than you? Like all of those things. We want to dive deep into the real pain, not necessarily the nice pain, but the real pain. We need to understand the complete situation. What are they currently trying to do logistically to learn the Quran? Why does that suck? Okay, so that's the first part. Then we're going to go into current goals. So what do they want? Like how fast do they want it? What do they want? And then what does that life look like with them having achieved it? So once they've achieved it, like you need to get them to voice a scenario of what like their dream actually is. So like, is it being able to lead the prayer when their family comes over? Is it just totally internal maybe? Maybe it's just like, I need to feel better about myself. I want to level up my religion. Is it an external? Like all of those things. We want to get that dream scenario and we want to get them to voice it. So we get the current goals. And then here's where the qualifying section sells the deal. So now what we do, I'm going to point this down just a bit. Now what we do is we go to something called the gap. So we take the current pain, we loop this back around here, and now we extend what that current pain looks like. So if they do not make a change, what does their life look like in 3 to 5 years? In 3 to 5 years, are they in the exact same spot? Are they behind where they're at right now? Are they going to feel more embarrassed? We really want to extend that. We want to go back and ask them. So like what you would literally say is be like, okay, cool. Well, Hamza, you've been trying to learn the Quran for 3 years. You've only managed to memorize 5 surahs. At this point, what does life look like if you do not make a change? What in 3 years from now, what would your position be like? And we create that gap. So we've gotten the current pain, we've gotten the current goals. Now we've created that gap. Now, right after we created that gap, now we do something called permission to present. So P2P, PTP, permission to present. So now, actually, I'm sorry, Hamza, any questions on the queue before we move on?
Okay, so current pain.
Yep.
I'm not sure if this is something usual, but sometimes people don't even know they're paying. It's like they trying and didn't work, and they still don't know that it's painful enough, but they jump on the call. But you also have sometimes, people who don't actually know the dream scenario. They actually don't have it. So I'll give you so this is from the calls that I've been jumping on with people. They think it's that I'm just gonna learn the Quran and one day I will learn it and that's the end of it. So they actually don't know what life would be like if you wake up every day and you recite the Quran for 30 minutes, every day. You feel connected to Quran. That is actually filling up all those voids that you have in your life. So ultimately, there's an ROI to it. You actually end up not spending money on your boredom. You end up not spending money. Like, for example, I have students saying to me, "Oh, I stopped watching movies." I said, "Oh, I thought it's fun. Like, yeah, there are movies that are not that bad to watch." I said, "No, I just don't need it. I feel fulfilled by the end of the day. I sit and I read Quran for a couple of minutes, and I'm quite happy with that, content with that." So, what do you do when people don't know their pain enough, or they haven't defined it, or they haven't defined their goal?
That's a great question. Okay, so let's go back to this section over here. So when we're looking at all of these things, if they don't understand what the pain is, it's your job to clarify that. So you have to dig deep and figure out, okay, well, what are you doing right now with your extra time? What are you doing right now when things get hard? How are you coping? What are you doing with all these things that you see as pain, but they don't see? This is where you have to dig for them. So like Hamza, every single person has a job. They have kids. They have families. They're distracted. They're distracted by music. They're distracted by all their hobbies. They're not thinking about their problem. So like, what's your job? Your job is to make all of that real, to get them to think on the call. Because if that wasn't true, then they would just buy this with the checkout link. But the reason there's a sales call is so that you can educate them on their pain, educate them on their dream scenario, educate them on what their life will look like if they do not make a change. And the best way to educate somebody is by asking them questions. I don't know about you, but like I barely learned anything in college. Like I went to school for 4 years. I didn't learn much, but I learned a lot through life because it forced me to ask myself questions. I believe everything I say, but I don't believe anything you say. So the reason that the qualifying section sells the deal is because you start asking people questions and getting them to think for themselves about the problems that they're facing. So if somebody doesn't know something like this is where you, again, kind of like in the appointment setting, we ask questions that build curiosity. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, okay, this is interesting what you said right at the end. You said, so before we set the appointment, we're asking them questions to raise their curiosity. And during the call, we're asking them questions to get them to think.
Correct. So like asking them the obvious questions will not sell anything. You want to ask them the questions that they have not thought of. So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'll let you complete the point.
Okay, so in the beginning, like this section, your qualifying section will probably take 30 minutes. As you get better on the qualifying section, you start seeing people's eyes like light up. you'll get some aha moments. The more of those aha moments you get, the better you'll understand what kinds of questions to ask on every single one of these sections here.
I think what I have been doing so far is I've been avoiding hard questions. And in my head, if I get them to think and they have to think too much, they might feel unfamiliar and they might not get something. So I'm asking them questions that are very obvious. So of course, that's not really leading them to think any different, which end up leading them to not really, you know, purchasing anything.
100%. 100. Exactly. So, okay. So that is everything on the qualified section. Now let's move on to the actual presentation. Now, before you can present, you have to do something called permission to present. It's a requirement that you have to ask somebody, is it okay if I share with you what would help solve your problem and get you to your goal? So would it be cool if I give you the game plan to get you from current situation to desired outcome? So Hamza, would it be okay if I gave you the game plan, the 3 steps to get you from only having memorized 3 surahs to memorizing the entire Quran in just 9 months? Would that be okay with you? So we want to make sure that like you are mentioning the current situation and the desired outcome in that. And we want to make sure that you are asking for permission. Would it be cool? Is it okay? Are you good to go if I give you? We want to do that because like if you don't do that, the biggest issue is like people tune out. So like you want to make sure that they agree to that before you start lecturing them. Okay, cool.
A quick question there.
Yeah.
How good is it if I drop a question there? Would it be okay if I ask you, would it be cool if I share with you the visual method that I use to help my students go from a situation just like yours to become a fluent Quran reciter? But let me ask this. Are you someone who is able to afford X, Y, and Z?
Okay, so good question. So in your qualifying section here, you're also finding out income. You're also finding out, so you're finding time, money, and decision makers. That's what you're also finding out here. So if you've gone through the qualifying section correctly, then your presentation, you should already know what product to present to them. You know what I'm saying?
Does that mean it's okay to offer them the low ticket if through qualifying you realize that they're not someone who can afford the high ticket?
Oh yeah, big time. Like because if you offer the best product in the world and you hype it up and you give them the best presentation and then they can't afford it, and then you try to downsell them, it's a lot harder than just presenting the downsell to begin with.
Okay. That's another mistake I've been making. Okay. So if you don't see them qualified enough, just present them the low ticket.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. And it's not for you, like that will be, it's funny. You'll see that trying to close on the low ticket will probably be harder than trying to close on the high ticket if the person is qualified. The low ticket buyers will still be hard. So that doesn't mean that because it's low ticket, you can't present to the best of your abilities. But yeah, that's totally fine.
So a question then, what if you present them the low ticket and then they say, oh, I was more interested one-on-one coaching?
That's totally fine. So what you would do in that scenario, you have 2 options here. You can either tease the one-to-one. So what you can do is you can you can tell them we definitely can, but that would be much, much, much more expensive. And you anchor it so high that the low ticket seems like a bargain. Or if they're truly not qualified, what you do is you phrase the high ticket in a way that does not make sense for them. So I'll answer that question with actually following the formula. So when you're going for the presentation, okay, so here's the presentation formula. So you have the permission to present, you have a price anchor. So you give a story that correctly anchors the price. That way, when they actually go to hear the price at the end, it seems like a bargain. And then you have a custom 1, a custom 2, and a custom 3. So you are presenting to them. Every single presentation will be different. And I'm going to give you a line that transformed the way that I present, which is the way that you know if it's a good presentation is if I only could have given it to you. That's how I know the presentation was amazing. If I can give my exact same presentation for every single person, that means I'm missing something. I'm not presenting to them, I'm presenting at them, which is a big problem. So, okay. Let's talk about the anchor real quick, because this will solve a lot of your problems. And by the way, your anchor needs to be present for the low ticket and for the high ticket. So you'll need to come up with this on your own, but essentially, I'll give you an example here. When I'm selling Daniel G's products, I tell a story of how when I first started working with Daniel G, I had to pay him $5,000 to come out to one event. And I talk about the benefits that gave me. So it changed my life forever. I became way better at sales. I became his president of sales a year and a half later. I share that story, but I only share that story if the product I'm selling is $2,000. So do you see why I do that? Because now in their head, as I'm building value on the 1, 2, 3, they are thinking in their head, 5K. And I'm building value for 5K. And then I get to the end and I say 2K, and it's a very easy deal. So, okay, the price anchor itself for you. There's a couple different ways that you can price anchor. The best way that I've ever seen, I think for your scenario, is if you draw out the timeline of the standard Quran teacher. So the standard Quran teacher, let's say the average one costs, that's like world class, costs $100 an hour. If you were going to take 100 and multiply it by 5 years or 3 years or 2 years, what would that cost be? It would be probably closer to like $10,000 to $15,000. Any questions on the anchor?
No, all good. All good for now.
Last part here. So the actual 1, 2, 3 of your presentation. Let's build this out right now. So the first part needs to be something that analyzes where they're at. So what I would do here is the first thing we do is we hop on a diagnostic call where we understand your current abilities in learning the Quran, how much you've memorized, and your current methods to doing this, so I know what to change. So the first part is the diagnostic call. The reason that the diagnostic is important is because it shows that you are custom tailoring to their problems and their issues with machine learning. Now, the second part is the actual learning process with you. So now what we're doing is we're showing them exactly how you are going to teach them. So what you're doing here is like, you're making it seem very easy for them. You're showing them the process. Are we meeting twice a week, once a week? Are we meeting in the mornings, in the evenings? What are we going to be doing on those calls? And you need to be describing your process that you use to teach throughout this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. Last part. Last part is success points. So what I usually like to do is if I was selling your offer, what I would say is the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to diagnose exactly where you're at. So I know exactly exactly what we should be focusing in on these calls. So we'll do a full hour-long call. I break down your process. That way we can actually hit the ground running and learn very fast right out the gate. Now, the second part is the learning process with me. So what we're going to be doing is hopping on calls Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're going to be changing this, and this. And this is how we're going to do it. And we're going to make it very simple for them to understand, very complicated on our end. Complicated on us, easy on you. The last part is I'm going to be walking them through their success. So within the first week, you'll understand this, and this. Within the second week, you'll understand this, and this. By the end of the first year, you'll have the entire book memorized. Now, here's the key with all three of these points. And these can change to whatever your audience is if you feel like it's more suitable for them. But the key here is two things. Number one, Q&A. You need to make sure that you're asking questions throughout the entire presentation and that it's an open dialogue. You do not want this to be a monologue. They should still be talking just as much as you're talking. And number two, for them, you need to make sure that every single one of these points is 100% for them and for them alone. As soon as it becomes about you or your business or what you guys do rather than what's in it for them, you lose them. Their interest will drain off. And that's really it on the presentation. Any questions on that as a whole?
Just on that last point, so it's for them. What if we run through a bit like a teaching session? So, look, we're going to be learning this in 4 different levels. Let me just explain to you how level 1 is going to help you. So most people learned it when they were young. They think they learned it right, but they haven't. And then I walk them through it. Look, most people identify this letter wrong. Now, if you identify this letter wrong, would you going to be reading it correctly? Just, it's a bit like you walking them through the teaching.
Exactly. So like what you want to be doing there is you want to be making sure that like every single point is like, okay, in the qualifying section, when you find their current pain, you're answering their current pain throughout this. When you find their current goals, you're answering their current goals throughout this. So somebody says, I want to learn half the Quran, and then you tell them, no, I'm only going to teach you the full Quran. Even though that might seem like a good thing, it could actually be a negative. You're not answering their goal. So you want to make sure everything is tailored to that person. And like, obviously this is an oversimplified version of your entire sales process. It's on the board right now, but it's exactly what it has to be. It has to be, everything is tailored to Hamza, to Jameel. And if it's tailored to Michael, then we have a big issue. So yeah.
I see. So if they're like, yeah. So if they say something like, look, I just want to learn to read Quran. You don't want to be saying, oh, then you can memorize Quran if you do this. If they say, I just want to learn it for myself, you don't want to be asking them, look, if you do this, then one day you can preach.
Exactly. No, you're getting it now. That's exactly what it is. If you, sometimes it feels like a good thing because like I'm over promising. I'm going to tell them like they can do even more than that. But okay, what happens here? So like, let's say I tell you, Hamza, let's say you tell me, I just want you to be, Jamil, I want you to be able to, I want to be able to read the Quran. And then I go throughout the entire presentation. I tell you, I'm going to be able to teach you how to memorize it. Now I hit you with a price at the end of $9.99. And they're like, well, I mean, that's not even really what I want. So can I get it for 500? You know what I mean? Like you've built, like you are almost taking away from that value now. So it's okay if stuff comes as an added benefit, but like, even if that's a part of your program, if that's what it is, I would leave that out.
Cool. It's a bit like if I joined Brad's program and he said you can make millions, I'll find it hard to believe. But let's say even if I want to believe that I will, I don't know what to do with that money. So it's like I don't think this is for me because I'm not really looking for millions.
Exactly.
Okay, a quick one here. Sometimes people are building demands as you're going through. So maybe they didn't fancy the idea of they didn't really fancy the idea that I'm gonna teach. But as you go through this, like, will this make me into a teacher? Will I be able to teach, if I do this? Will I be able to this and that? But they were not really interested in the beginning, but now they're opening up. It looks like they have so many more demands. Now, I know in 149 days you can do this, but that not really. So would you shut that down or how would you deal with it?
That's a great question. So, okay, right here, Q&A. This is why this is so important. Because like, as you're going through your presentation, again, you want to reconfirm all of this stuff. And if this stuff changes, you need to on the fly be able to change. This is why you can't have a very solid presentation in one. That's why it has to be able to be flexible so that when stuff happens, you can change on the fly. Yeah.
Okay. So, you don't think that sometimes going through the learning process, so when you present them, so you got the permission A, B, you anchor the price, C, now you're presenting. As you go through the presentation, it can make someone feel like, oh wow, this is so doable. But now they're thinking of bigger dreams. They're trying to think, can I achieve this or that? Can that happen? Or do you think if I qualify them enough, then that shouldn't surprise me? I'm only asking this because I don't want to end up promising them. I don't want to end up feeling the desperation of, that will happen. Yeah, you can also learn this. Yes, you will also learn that. And now I make the sale and I'm realizing, oh, this person actually have very high demands.
Yeah, good question. I mean, the thing is, like, if you take 30 minutes here, that will not happen. You know what I mean? Like, it'll only happen if you skip steps. So that's why, like, again, like the heart of everything is the qualifying section. Like if you don't take this seriously, the rest of the call, you might as well not even do. So yeah, that's everything there. Now let's move on and let's head to the close. So I'm going to erase all this.
Just the beginning of the close is setting the close the same as setting the exit.
No. So good question. In the close, we do not want to sell the exit. Not at all. So here's how the close works. So like the very first thing, after you've gone through the presentation, it's any questions. So we want to make sure that they completely understand the process moving forward. And if you've given a good presentation, it should be to them very clear. They should have zero questions, but they might have a couple, so you want to answer those questions. Now, Right after the actual close itself, after you go for any questions, then you want to diagnose how sold they are. So Hamza, on a scale from 1 to 10, how certain are you that this would actually help you get to goal? Now, if it's anything besides a 10, so even if it's a 9, and actually even if it's a 10, you want to ask one question back to them. So if it's a 10, why? If it's a 9, what would make it be a 10? Do you know why we asked that question?
Mm, maybe you can understand the expectations.
Well, we ask these questions if it's, so what we want to do, if it is a 10, we want to confirm that it truly is a 10 and that the value has been built and they're not just smoking you out. Now, if they say a 9, the reason that we want to ask this is so that we can pre-handle any objection that might come. It's way easier to handle an objection before the price rather than after the price. Does that make sense?
Okay. So I haven't dropped the price yet. Okay.
We've not dropped the price yet. So all we did was any questions on a scale from 1 to 10. How certain are you this would actually help you get from current situation to desired outcome? Great. Then, cool. Total investment to get you from current situation to desired outcome is just gonna be big price, but because of good reason, will be small price. Okay, so kind of a lot to unpack there, but we'll go through all this. So it's never the cost. It's never the price. It's an investment. This entire time we've been building value, if we say the cost on something, we immediately crap all over that value. So I like the word investment better, but it could be anything. You just want a word that will actually like hold that value. So total investment to get you from, we're reminding them. This whole call has been 45 minutes long. We need to remind them of the problem, current situation. 2, desired outcome to where they want to go is just going to be 10,000. But because for you, you seem like a quick learner, and I don't know if we'll have to take an entire year to do this, we'll start off with month to month. We'll start off with just $9.99. Does that make sense? This is how seriously I take this. Now, I need you to make me a promise. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay. I need you to promise that you will pay Jameel 10% tax for every call that you close or do not close, and you don't ask for a referral. Because you're already stealing money from yourself, so you might as well give it to me. Of every single call, I don't care if it's a close or a loss. I need you to ask this one question. Can you give me 2 to 3 names that also want to accomplish what you do. End of every call. Close or you lose it. Every single call, ask for the referral. Because this by itself, when you have a qualified person, especially when somebody closes and they're qualified, they know other qualified people. So every single call, if you are not asking this question, you're just saying, I do not want to make money. That's what you're saying. So
and that's interesting. I never thought you can do that.
Yep. Every single call. Because also, like human psychology, as soon as you buy something, that's the peak. That's when they're most likely to refer you. They're peak sold right now. You have two options to get referrals: right after they're sold or right after you get them the best result in the world. But like this is the easiest time because this is very repeatable.
Okay, excellent. Yeah.
And that's it. Well, amazing, Hamza, dude. Thanks for coming on. I hope this was very valuable for you. Bro, I have to go right now, but dude, I'm very, very confident that with you making all the changes we put on the board today, we're going to see the closing ratio skyrocket. You're going to help a lot more people. And yeah, man, I think it's going to be very good stuff coming.
I'm really excited, and I'm quite certain that this will 100% work because I don't see the reason why it wouldn't. So, thanks a lot, Jamil. Really appreciate it.
Of course, Hamza. Pleasure. Thanks for coming on, bro. We'll see you.